but I wrote a journal entry today that I wanted to share. I just realized that me wanting to be mysterious these last few years was just because I'm afraid to be seen. Allowing myself to be small and fragile. Allowing myself to be scared of outside judgment. Allowing myself to care about other opinions more than I care about my own growth, self-love, and thus my friends, family, and partner. How naive it is to play small. How naive it is to allow oneself to shrink in order to pretend it's a marketing technique. I no longer will allow this in my life, my artistry, or my way of existing. I am abundant. I am a genius. I am an artistic savant who has allowed outside sources to affect my inner source, and thus my God source, but never again. Yeah, I'd spent a decade in LA, and man, running around in that type of environment at such a young age really affected me in a lot of ways, positive and negative. And one of those ways was listening to what other people thought I should do with my music and my sound and my direction and my look and what would work. And that only got me further and further and further away from myself, which in turn made music that didn't connect because I didn't connect with it. And I started looking like someone that I didn't recognize anymore. And that became unbearable. It became incredibly difficult. And then living in that was so confusing. It felt like I was doing everything wrong, and it felt like no one was listening, even though at the time I had an incredible community, I had incredible reach, I had incredible momentum. I tricked myself out of it because I no longer felt like myself. And that has been a brutal realization as I fully come back into myself and back into who I am and what I want to create and what I want to leave in this world as my legacy. Something that has been such a process, especially since the brain injury, that really made me stop and made me see all these things so clearly. So I thank God for that. And my next album is going to explain what that process was like and all these things that I learned. But shrinking yourself for other people's expectations only leads to disheartened feeling of failure. It leads to not knowing oneself. It leads to questioning literally everything. And it confuses what your goals are. You know, it turned my goals into numbers, reach, expectation of success, this false illusion of what even success meant for me. And I got so far away from my original goals that nothing seemed to matter anymore, not even the work. If it was easy for me at that time, I would do it because I was in such a mode of survival that anything was okay for me to do. I didn't have a sense of morals. I didn't have a sense of standing my ground or saying no, or even being in the luxury of saying no, because I got so far away from me. And so as I full circle back to myself in this new way, I'm excited. I'm grateful for all those years of confusion and of not seeing what was truly in front of me. It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing coming back into yourself and back into your truth and back into your power and who you are. And redefining that seems more and more important week to week as the world changes. And just keeping that fully in my mind, it's now the most important thing in my life to remind myself who I am. Why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? And what's most important to me? That's what I'm working on every day. And I'm just grateful to be here and to be present and to know who I am. Yeah.